好，大家好，午安。咁就再次喺呢個午膳之後嘅時間，再次歡迎晒大家嘅 Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again after lunch. My name is Brian, the host for today. 我叫 Brian， 咁係今日嘅主持人，再次歡迎晒大家嘅。嗱，喺早上嘅時間咧，我哋都睇咗兩個嘉賓為我哋主講唔同嘅主題啦。跟住落嚟，我哋繼續有另外一位嘉賓嘅。Our next speaker is a pre-recorded segment。跟住落嚟咧，呢位嘅嘉賓咧，佢係預先錄影咗嘅一啲片段嚟嘅。咁就喺呢度咧，簡單介紹下佢先。我哋非常之榮幸咧，邀請到周偉文博士。嗱，周博士嚟自加拿大啦，佢係認證情緒取向治療師以及督導，並且咧擔任咧 AAMFT 嘅臨床研究員及認可督導 ，CACFT、RMFT 嘅督導導師，以及咧新加坡咧社科大學同埋天道大學嘅輔導學系嘅教授。今次佢嘅主題就係情緒取向治療與哀傷輔導。Dr. Herman Chow, he's an ICEEFT certified EFT therapist and supervisor, AAMFT, CACFT approved supervisor, professor of counseling with Singapore University of Social Science, and he'll be having a speech on the topic of emotionally focused therapy, EFT and grief. 好啦，呢個時間不如我哋細心欣賞下呢個片段啦。
Hello, greetings from Toronto, Canada. My name is Herman Chow. I'm a registered psychotherapist here in Toronto. And also, I teach us at a few different universities, especially in the topic of emotionally focused therapy. I am a EFT supervisor in Toronto. I'm glad to be one of the speakers to be able to speak to you on the topic of separation and loss, on updates on social trend and clinical practice. And the area that I want to focus on today is on grief, right? Grief and EFT. Grief is no stranger to all of us, right? We all have gone through some kind of grief, some kind of loss. I remember what a British psychiatrist, Dr. Colin Park, says. He says, grief is the price we pay for love. Let me say this again. Grief is the price we pay for love. So I guess it means that if we ever want to enter into the arena of love and attachment, grief is the price of admission that we have to pay. I mean, you think about it, right? We only grieve only because we love and we care. When we have invested in that person, in that process, in that thing, whatever that it is, and when we lose it, of course, it makes an impact on us. Right? We grieve on things, on people that we care about. And like I said, I mean, none of us is immune to losses. I certainly, somebody that had gone through some significant loss. One of the most devastating loss that I've gone through personally is losing my son. He was at the time 12 years old. He had cancer for 8 years. He battles and he battles for a good 8 years and then finally succumbed to it when he was 12. And that was a big hit to myself and to my wife, to my family. And that was back in 2011 when we lost him. And even talking about now, even today, it still brings up a lot of emotions in me. And I'm sure most of you have experience with loss. I mean, there are different types of loss. I mean, it's not just about losing people, but it could be losing in terms of a relationship, like a breakup or an affair. Or perhaps we're losing our identity through migration, through immigration, perhaps through different types of transitioning in our lives, right? So we go through all different kind of losses in our lifetime. Everybody is not immune to this. And the losses do impact people differently though, I think, right? Some people cope very differently with losses. But they all impact us, right? Losses always impact us. They impact us physically. Disrupt our sleep, changes in our appetite, our body, our muscles get tense sometimes. Perhaps mentally. right? We have problem concentrating, maybe hard for us to make decision. And sometimes I remember I ruminate, lying in bed after the loss of my son, ruminate about what could have been different, what could I have done differently, and remember memories of him, good memories, and also the times that he had the battle, and also the near at the end of his life. I think about how the impact that he has on his little body, right, with cancer. So he ruminates in us, and perhaps even affect us spiritually, especially if you're a person of faith, right? It makes us question our faith, make us wondering about where is that higher being, where is that God, where is our God? We feel disconnected from him or her or them, depending on how we answer that question. And I remember being really pissed off at God, really upset with God. But I think above all, right? I think grief and losses hit us emotionally as well. With my, I sometimes I think of it like it's like a wave, right? Standing at the edge of the beach when the wave is coming at you from the ocean. Could be the wave of sadness, sometimes the wave of anger, the wave of guilt. Could I have done something more? The wave of confusion, like why? The wave of fear and the longings. And sometimes the wave is just a wave of numbness that you couldn't think anymore. It makes us lose our own emotional balance. It's like getting hit by the wave, right? And sometimes they do knock us over, right? And it feels like we get so overwhelmed with the waves. We all loses our emotional balance when we go through losses, and perhaps when we, especially for those that we love the most, or the process or the thing that we love the most. If I think about grief from an attachment perspective, which is what emotionally focused therapy is really centered in attachment theory, grief is actually a very natural, very organic response to loss. Generally speaking, when we go through losses, when we can actually grieve, if nothing else gets in the way, we actually start to maybe do better. We have a way to move through that loss a bit better. I mean, we never move on really, but we can move through it perhaps, right? And also we need to be able to move with the pain that comes with it. Attachment science suggests that when we experience losses, it triggers our attachment system, right? That we want to seek closeness and proximity to that attachment figure, right? So that that attachment figure can help us to soothe, to find comfort, to calm down the nervous system, so that we can regain that emotional balance again. I mean, when those waves hit you still, when you remember the losses, it's still as painful as like it happened before. But maybe we can sort of regain that sense of balance again. But oftentimes that organic process of grief doesn't always happen because there are always some things that perhaps gets in the way, right? And oftentimes in when I'm doing emotionally focused therapy with my clients, with couples, with individuals, with family, especially around the areas of grief, I find that sometimes there's a lot of blocks, especially emotional blocks, right? If somehow the attachment channel is open, if I'm going through grief, if I can find that attachment figure that can be there for me, right? If that attachment figure will show up for me, then maybe I have a chance to grieve through it, right? I have a chance to move with the pain, perhaps to move through the pain, maybe never move on. But sometimes there are things that blocks the attachment channel, right? And when the sometimes maybe it's the attachment figure is not accessible, not responsive, not engaging, right? Sue Johnson, in the creator of EFT, talks about the three letters, right? Accessibility, of our attachment figure, the responsiveness, and the engagement of it. Accessible. Are they here? Are they accessible physically and emotionally? If I go to them with my pain, are they actually here to catch me? Responsiveness. How will they respond to me? Will they tell me just to move on, get over it, while I'm still grieving? Do they say that, or do they actually respond to my pain? Do they suffer with me? Do they comfort me? Or do they stay engaged as well? Right? Even though I'm still coming back to the same pain sometimes again and again, would they be willing to stay with me in the pain? When the attachment is there, when the attachment figure is there, when they're accessible, responsive, engaging, sometimes we will find that comfort and regain that balance. And sometimes maybe the attachment figure is there, but just that sometimes we ourselves somehow have learned, maybe from our culture, from upbringing, that we are not supposed to take that risk to be vulnerable of our pain. So we don't do it. Later on, I'm going to show you one of my clients. Her name's Kathy, and that's what happens to her. That was a block for her that she wasn't given permission to grieve. Coming from a Chinese background, she learned that even when she lost her dad, she wasn't supposed to cry. She wasn't supposed to burden others. We find it from attachment theory is that when we can activate the attachment system, when grief can actually happen, right? Especially the organic process of grief can happen, then people has a chance to move through that loss, even though it's still painful. I'd like to share with you perhaps maybe my clients, all right? I'd like to share with you a little bit about how EFT might work with that a bit, right? I mean, every modalities would work with grief a bit differently. With EFT, with emotionally focused therapy, we focus on the emotions, especially the pain, especially around the attachment pain. And then we're trying to set up encounters with that client, with that person, with a attachment figure, so that they can find some comfort. I mean, the goal of EFT is really about this empathetic response. If I show up with my pain, would this person here can catch me? Would they comfort me? Would they show me compassion? The word compassion in English, right, comes from two different parts of the word, calm and then passion, right? The word passion, it means is that intense emotion. It's almost like suffering, right? This suffering, right? It's that intense feelings. And then the word calm means together. So when I think about the word compassion, it means that can I suffer with you? Can I join you in your suffering? Would I show up for you in your pain? Or do I just want to somehow dismiss it and tell you to get over it? Or do I even just ignore it? In EFT, we're hoping that in the work that we do, the therapists ourselves are the first attachment figure. We're the temporary attachment figure. We want to show up for our clients' pain. We want to suffer with them. And then we're going to invite them to do an encounter with a sometimes an attachment figure, usually an imaginary one, that are not really in our office, not in the room, but probably somebody that was with them before, which you will see the work that I'm going to do with Kathy. I'm going to get her at some point talking about her pain with her father that passed away. So my job is to help people to suffer with, not to suffer alone. I mean, it comes down to it, right? If you think about it, when people are suffering in losses, when they go through loss, they're suffering. We can't do anything about that. There'll be pain. Can't change that. The only choice people have is, do they suffer alone in the pain, in their own little corner? Or can they suffer with someone? Again, first, perhaps with a therapist, and then also with an attachment figure. I'm going to show you a video, a short one, There'll be 2 different clips. Her name is Kathy. Kathy is a client of mine, and she has suffered, significant loss. She lost both her parents. First the dad, and then the mom, right? But yet, I think the hardest part about losing mom and dad is that she wasn't given the permission to cry, to have tears, to grieve, right? So my first piece of the work that I want to show you is just basically me helping her to look at the block of how come she couldn't go into that pain, go into this pain around this loss of hers. Growing up in the Chinese culture, she was taught that you don't shed tears, right? You be tough, you be strong, right? So I want to maybe have a chance here and from an EFT perspective. So here I'm working with one person. So we're doing something called EFIT, emotionally focused individual therapy. I'm just working with her to help her to go through our tango. I reflected a present process, and then I want to go after and sample some of her emotions, some of her pain. Okay, so that's the first clip. That is all I'm going to try to do here. So let me see whether I can bring that up for you, and then we're going to talk through that a bit. Hopefully if you can see this right now. So this is me doing a tango move 1 to 2. Tango move 1 is reflecting a present process. Just basically what I'm seeing. I want to put a pin on this, and I want to help her to talk about this block. So in this case, I'm actually helping her to assemble some affect, emotion around the block. So here we go. But the piece that I sort of want to stay with, if that's okay, right, is about I think not allow or not able to share your grief, your sadness when you lost your dad. Can we stay at that piece a bit? Yeah. So that was hard for you, right? Because you weren't given permission to do that, right? How even as we talk about this now, so I'm talking about now, right, Kathy? That when you are not able to share your sadness, to cry, which is very natural, that when we lost somebody special, right, that we would cry, we would have expression of our emotions, right? When you're not allowed to do that, then how do you feel about that? What happens for you?
I feel like in sad times, there's always like this block of flow of emotions there.
Okay.
And I really don't know how to let it out. It's hard. And also when I share those sad feelings with others, I can share the true feelings with my husband, but when I share it with my friends, like very close friends, I don't share it in a way that I know, like other friends, like my friend share hers with me. She just cry, and so everything in her mind and share that with me. But I couldn't just cry in front of her. I would just try to say things very logically, rationally, and try not to give this burden to my friends. I try not to cause, them feel like burdens or even when I share some unhappy things with other people,
Right.
I make it fun. I, use a bit of humor, try to let others feel it's like a joke.
Yeah.
It's even not like sad things for me.
Right. So that sounded like it's your protective strategy then, right?
Yeah.
When something is really sad,
Mhm.
really tough, you don't, and I hear the word burden, right? It almost like there's this worry about being a burden to others.
Yeah.
So you try to lighten their load, right? By being more fun, by being more lighter, by using humor, right? Is that like that? Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't know whether this is even true, right? Even, I've met with you for a little bit now, right? I know that every time, even when we talk about even this very sad topic of grief, I noticed that you smile a lot.
I'm smiling always. Yeah. I just
Yeah.
don't want others feel so burdened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I sense that, right? I sense that. So in a way, I think it was so good that you talk about that. I certainly saw that, right? Even today, right? Even today, that even as we talk about something very sad and upsetting, right? But I always see this really smile on your face. It's almost like you're trying to protect me too, almost like.
Yeah.
Right? Almost like you try, I don't know whether it's protecting me, protecting yourself, I'm not sure, but it's almost like you don't want to burden me with such a heavy load, right? So it's almost like you want to somehow soften the impact of that. Am I getting that right? Like, is that what you do? Okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I didn't notice that even.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. Right. Right. Can you maybe share with me a bit about this protecting piece, right? I guess the way that I'm linking this, and again, if I'm way off base, and help me out with this, right? Is that you're trying to protect two things, right? Protecting me, but also protecting yourself too, I think. Because almost like there's a part of you don't want me to feel like you're too burdensome, you're too much. Because that's a word that you use, right? Almost like there's this, I'm using this word, may not be a good fit for you, but almost like there's this fear of being a burden. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Okay.
right. I don't want to be burdened to anyone or,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Right. So you have to, because of this fear of being a burden, right, to others. So I have to make things light and soft and humor and fun, even though you're talking about something that is really sad. Yeah. Is that a bit of what's happened to you too? Like when you lost your dad, when you lost your mom, you really couldn't really cry or grieve. There was no permission for it, right? So the only way that you know how to cope is by not looking at the pain, not looking at the sadness.
Possible, I think.
Yeah.
Because I always had, not always had, especially when I feel low in mood and a little bit depressed.
Yeah.
After very exhausting weekend, all the things we need to do. I really don't want to see anyone anymore, and I want just to be quiet and to be by myself. And I feel very lonely at that time because and also some depressed there, and I just feel I was always talking to myself. I'm no one's child anymore. It's a sad thing, because you have parents at these moments of exhaustion. You do have someone you can go for.
I see.
For comfort. No need for you to do anything. Just to be a child, to enjoy your time, to relax, to rest and be at peace.
Yeah.
But there's these regular times, not regular. I mean, like irregular times when I feel exhausted. I really had this thoughts. Oh, how I wish they're still alive.
Yeah.
I can go for them.
Then you have somebody to go to.
Yeah, I
Right.
just can be there, relax. No need to do anything.
Right.
I
Then I
don't
can be
have. I left kind of feelings of desperation, I should say.
yeah.
And I know I can always go to God for help. That thank God. And
Sure.
a lot of times I can seek this comforting support from God through prayer, meditation, but I wish like physically, literally there's there. I could, go to.
Okay. Yeah. Kathy, can we slow it down here a little bit? Yeah, let's slow this piece down a bit. I think you talked about something that I think is really important, right? A statement that you said earlier that really, it really caught my attention. I actually have a bit of an emotional reaction to it too. When you said that I'm no one's child anymore, right? When you said that, I don't know, like my heart sank a bit. And I feel like I feel emotional around that, right? I would imagine what that's like for you when you lost both your parents. And then at some point, especially knowing what they meant to you, right? That there was this safe person that you can go to. But then when you lost them, then you lost that place. I'm no one's child anymore. I don't have this safe place that I can go to let my hair down, to talk about all my happy and sad things with. Yeah. Is that sort of like that for you?
It's
Yeah.
not good.
Yeah. When you hear me say this to you, right, Kathy?
Mhm.
Do you feel it in your body too right now? I still see the smile coming up, obviously, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Where do you notice it? What's happening in your body?
I have this heart feelings in my heart. I
Uh,
have
sorry, I didn't hear what you said. Heart feeling?
I have this sadness.
Sadness.
Yeah,
Right. Where do
yeah.
you feel that sadness in your body? On the
Heart.
chest, in the
Yeah.
heart. Okay. Of course. Right. I felt it too. I mean, I'm not even you, right? But when you said that I'm no one's child anymore, I lost my person, my parent.
Mhm.
I couldn't be a child to them. I couldn't go to a safe place where I can let my hair down. Of course that's sad. Can you describe when you put your hands on your heart here?
Mhm.
Can you describe what that's like for me? You felt the sadness there, but what is it like in your body?
It's heavy,
Heavy?
and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's some emotions that was there that couldn't get out.
Okay.
It's not good. I feel. Yeah.
Okay. So
I
you
just don't know
notice
how
there's
to
some
express it.
emotion. Sorry. So I'm sorry. I there's a delay. Sorry. So can I slow it down a bit? So you said you felt heavy
Mhm.
and you felt like there's a lot of emotion there, but cannot
Mhm.
get out. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Can we maybe slow down right here? I
Mhm.
want to help you to look at what are some of the emotion perhaps being trapped in there.
Mhm.
Yeah. Can you help me with that? What are some of the emotions that are there, along perhaps with sadness?
Yeah, loneliness
Yeah, yeah.
and how to say it, like the fact that you couldn't go back and you couldn't get back what you lost.
Right.
That kind of hopeless, not hopeless. I mean, especially for my dad because he's not a Christ. I'm not sure whether he's a Christian or not, but um, maybe I will never see him again. But for my mom, I'm sure like from my face, I'm sure like I will see her because she got baptized, she became a Christian,
Right.
and I felt that kind of doubt and those questioning feelings because
Hmm.
I really hope this longings to see him,
Yeah,
but I couldn't.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
I don't know how to express that. It's not hopeless, but
Mm.
similar. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's a loss, right? It's a
Yeah.
loss, right? That you lost your dad, but not just the death, right? But the loss of not able to see him again,
Mm,
right? I mean, that's what I think is a double kind of loss. Not only did I
mm,
lost him physically in this earth,
mm,
but what if I don't see him again in heaven,
mm, mm,
right? Then it's like I lost this guy completely,
mm.
right? And that's heavy,
It is.
right? And then no wonder you also felt very lonely then, right? Because that has always been your support, safe
Mhm.
person for you. Yeah. Okay. You think we can try something, Kathy? Like I know we're done. Okay. So that's the clip with Kathy. I don't know, what did you notice about this clip? What resonated with you and perhaps what not resonated with you. But what I was trying to accomplish here is to first go after her block to grief. In the attachment system, we believe that if nothing's really blocks the ability to grieve, they would do a pretty good, decent job with that, right? Because grief is organic. You suffer loss, you grieve, right? Unless there's something that is blocking that attachment channel, it's like this rock that's blocking it, then we gotta find some way to get rid of that block, right? Enough so that we have chance to help the person to grieve better, right? So in this clip, I was helping her to look at the block, right? That she wasn't given permission to grieve, and even her smile was part of that nonverbal block, right? I'm supposed to make things light and humorous because the fear is that I'm gonna be what the fear that I'm gonna burden the other person, and also then I don't want to take on all this burden of this pain, right? So that's what's her block. So her fear blocks her ability to grieve well. So in our model in EFT, we said we don't teach people out of it. We don't believe, we can teach people out of their fear. We just join them in their pain. We join them in it. We help them to make sense of it, right? And we help them to take some ownership around it. And then what I did with it, and to go further with it, is to link that block, link that pain to an attachment pain. I mean, I said it in a clip, right? But the one of the things that really sort of resonated with me is what she says about that I am no one's child anymore. I mean, that really hit me too, right? When she said it in session, and I go like, wow, that's a ouchie, right? That ouch, that hurts, right? And the way that she explained it is that when I'm no one's child, there's nobody that I can go to anymore. A place where I normally could go to, a place of safety, but now I have no one to go to. So ended up is that she had to take on all the pain by herself. And that's why she got blocked. So that was this first piece of work that I was trying to help her to just to even make sense of it, help her to name the pain, the fear, and then to actually touching on her view of self that I am no one's child anymore. That's what we, in a way, in the EFT and the attachment model, we refer that to as her view of self, but also your attachment pain lives right there, right? That I cannot go to anybody. I'm no one's child. And that's sad, right? Again, you notice that I'm not trying to help her to get rid of the sad or try to make things better. No, no. At this point, I just want to make that pain a lot more clear to her so that she has a chance to own it. The next clip that I'd like to show you is our Tango 3 and 4. Tango 3 is really the actual enactment, or sometimes we call it the encounter. I want to have a chance to actually verbalize that fear, that pain, that I'm no one's child anymore to an attachment figure. In EFIT, in individual therapy, the object of that, that the enactment can be anybody. But usually we want to select a attachment figure. In this particular case, I selected Dad because Dad was a safe person for her, even though Dad passed away. But we can always bring him back in the room. In fact, I think in many ways that Dad is really very much alive in the room because her grief is still very much alive with Dad. So I was setting up an encounter about asking her to pass over this fear, this pain, right? That I'm no one's child, pain, right? And able to have a chance to talk to Dad about it. And then I want to see what Dad can sort of do with that, right? Even though Dad is not even in the room, but I want to see what happens there, right? So I'd like to be able to show you this clip now. And then again, maybe take a note and see what resonates with you about this, okay? I can get you maybe have a chance to talk to your dad here in our office. Is that okay that we do that?
Okay.
Do I have your permission to try to do an encounter here?
Mhm.
Yeah? Okay. So I'd like you to close your eyes. Yeah. You're in a safe place. Okay, Kathy? You're in a safe place. There's no judgment. Right? You're not being too much. Okay. The first thing I'd like you to do is I'd like you to picture your dad's face. Okay. I want you to picture his face filled with kindness and love and support for you. Okay. I want you to take in that face first. There's no rush. Okay. It's okay. We can shed tears here. Okay. This is allowed. Yeah. And when you're ready, right, I'd like you to share with him about what you've been keeping inside your heart all these years. About how sad you felt about losing him. That you felt lonely without him because he was such a hero to you. And you're so afraid of not seeing him again. Did I get that right, first of all, Kathy? Are those the three main things that you feel sad losing him? And you felt almost like this loneliness without him?
Mhm.
But the greatest fear is that I might not see you again. I'm so afraid of that. Yeah. When you're ready, no rush. Take a good look at his face. Because I think he wants to hear this from you. When you're ready, can you say that out loud to him?
Mhm.
Yeah, so that I can hear what you're saying? Like, I want you to focus on his face, though. His kind, loving face. Yeah.
Dad, I really missed you all these years. And how I wish you could be by my side. With me, especially when I went through all those important moments of my life. And I want to thank you for being such a good friend. Thank you for giving the love that nurtures me all through my life till now. And I also want to thank you for setting such a good example to be a good person to the family and also to other people. And I wish I really want to see you, and I wish I could see you.
Can you tell him about how scared you are that you're not able to see him? Can you tell him that?
I'm very scared that when I leave this place, this world, I will not see you again.
Mm.
I really hope I will see you again.
Yeah.
I feel really lonely, especially in those times
Mm.
when I'm feeling tired and really depressed. I really hope I can go to you because you always have
Right.
full acceptance of me.
Right. Right. And you're also afraid You're afraid that you're no one's child anymore, right? That you couldn't go to anyone else. Can you tell him a bit about that? That I'm so afraid that I'm no one to go to.
Yeah, a lot of times I really want to go back to the times when we're still alive.
Mm-hmm.
I feel at these days, I mean, very lonely, especially when I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
I always talk to myself. I was tired.
Mm.
How I wish I could call my name.
Right.
And I still have a safe place to share everything in my mind. Share my weaknesses and those hard feelings for me. But I couldn't.
Mm.
So very sad.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Good. You can open your eyes, Kathy. Yeah. Okay. What was that like for you, Kathy?
Oh, I've never tried this before. I did maybe write a letter to him.
Yeah.
I didn't, try to stick it out.
Yeah. But you were being so honest, though. I thought, to me, you were being very authentic, right? That was your truth, right, Kathy? Right. And that was when you have permission to be honest, permission to cry, permission to be honest. I think you have a better chance of connecting with that. That's when you will remain his child, right? When you can be open and honest with him, even now. Yeah. What was that like for you? Can you maybe share some of your experiences? Like, what was it like?
I feel lighter here, of course.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Lighter here.
Right. The heaviness is not as heavy. It's lighter. Okay. Yeah. Say something about that. What is lighter? That's good.
I have a way to express my emotions.
Yeah.
I did it first, so
You're right. Before I did not have the permission to do it. Now I do. I can express myself. I can talk to my dad now. Yeah.
I talk that with God, of course.
Yeah.
It helps every time. And,
Sure.
I guess I need to practice more to share my true feelings with my family members.
Right.
Try to let it out. Try
Yeah.
not to hold it.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Well, but it makes sense though, right? I want to be very honest with you, Kathy, that you do that in order to protect yourself, right? You weren't given permission to be honest before, to share things, right?
And also
With your
try to
husband. I'm sorry?
and also try to protect others.
Yes. Right?
Try not.
And you're such a wonderful person that try to protect yourself, protecting others, right? No wonder then almost like all your energy is everywhere, right? Right? Right. But then I wonder how much is there left for you to take care of yourself in that way. Yeah, probably not too much.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, maybe that's part of the example your parents have said, right? That they were always very loving, taking care of others, right? And even you said earlier that you wish dad would have some energy to take care of himself, right? And right now, what you just did is a bit of that. Is you processing a bit about what happened with you and have a chance to even talk about that in such an honest fashion. I'm glad that you felt a bit lighter, right? That's not as heavy. Anything else? I just want to know anything else that happens for you when you were able to look at your dad's face. I noticed something, right? Even before you said anything, I noticed that when I asked you to focus on your dad's face, I find that you were, I don't know, different. You were a lot more in touch with your emotion. You were not like smiling as much, which to me actually feels appropriate, right? Because almost like I noticed that you were able to allow yourself permission to give yourself to go to that sadder place. Okay. So that was my Tango 3 and 4 with Kathy. Tango 3 is the actual enactment, her saying that pain, right, to her father. Tango 4, Tango move number 4 is actually processing after the encounter. What was that like for you, right? For us in EFT, Tango 3, the enactment or the encounter itself is what tunes people into the emotional channel, to the attachment channel, right? So that's our bread and butter sort of move, right, in EFT, because otherwise it's just very cognitive, right? Perhaps, right? But once we ask her to close your eyes to imagine that, I don't know whether you notice it on the tape. Once I asked her to focus on the face of her dad, she was not smiling as much. She was more in tears because we were helping her to tune back into that emotional channel, to that pain, right? So even that is a helping her to focus on that. And then when she can actually sort of talk about her emotions, her pain around it, those are the emotions that she said earlier that was blocked, right? Remember? And now she can let it out a bit more. She had permission now to talk about them in a safe place, in the safety of my office, with a safe attachment figure that's a therapist, but also with dad, her hero. That's what she calls her, right? The hero, her loving figure, right? That she can, when she look at that face, there's actually safety now. I can share those painful stuff, right? That I am so afraid that I won't see you again. I'm so afraid that I'm no one's child anymore. Those are the attachment pain that she's been living with for quite a number of years. And now in this sort of encounter, we're giving her a chance to touch those pain, but allowing her to have somebody to listen to that pain, right? So that again, either she suffer alone or she suffer with. Here is she suffer with the therapist, but also suffering with her dad in this moment. In this moment, in my opinion, she is her dad's child, right? The fear that she's no one's child in this moment is not true for her. She has a corrective emotion experience around that. I mean, there was a number of them, right? I mean, one of them was the body response. We always check the body response, EFT, right? Earlier, when she talks about this pain, she felt this heaviness on the heart, right? And after she's had this encounter, she was able to verbalize this pain, and now she feels lighter, right? Heavy, lighter. In a sense, that's our emotion regulation, right? That's how helping her to find her emotional balance again. It feels a bit more calmer, right? So that even if the wave of sadness still hits her, it will, but now she has a bit more stability, right? She's not going to tumble over or get overwhelmed by the wave. And also another corrective emotional experience is that now she has permission to share her sadness. There's no judgment. Whereas before, right, when she had tears, she would be judged. So that's our Tango 3 and 4. You didn't get to see our Tango Move 5 because of time. Usually Tango Move 5 is a way for us to tie the knot in a way. We are doing a bit of integration and validating the work that she had done today. Right? If you watch actually the whole session, I would have done a Tango 5 at the end to say, you know what, look at the work you've done today. Right? Whereas before, you wouldn't take the risk of burdening yourself, burdening others with your grief, with your losses, even though it's so natural. Would make so much sense if you did, but you wouldn't do it because of fear of being a burden. But now you did. Look at the work that you've done. And also look at the work that, before you're so afraid that you're no one's child. I couldn't go to dad. I couldn't go to mom for anything anymore. But now you did. You went to dad. Right? Those are the corrective emotion experience that we want our clients to experience. So that again, we can open up that attachment channel so that the organic process of grief can happen for her, right? So that's what we are hoping that we could do in the work of EFT. And in reality, of course, it take more than one pass to do this kind of work, right? We would need to do several passes to do this kind of work because there's a lot of fear there. The fear of being a burden, the fear that I'm no one's child, it's going to be a lot stronger, a lot bigger. So we need to go through multiple corrective emotional experience for her to begin to trust this new process. Okay? So that's a bit of a snapshot about what, how I guess a EFT therapist might work with grief. Or at least that's how Herman Chow might work with grief through EFT and through the attachment lens. I mean, for us to end today, I want to maybe end with one last quote. And this is a quote from C.S. Lewis from his book, A Grief Observed. I like this quote. I'd like to share that with you, if I may. He says, "Grief is like a long valley, a winding valley where any bend may reveal a totally new landscape." Let me read that again. Grief is like a long valley, a winding valley where any bend may reveal a totally new landscape. I think that way about grief. As I help my clients to travel through this landscape of grief, this windy road, every bend, every turn, there's something new to discover, right? Something new to discover, and hopefully something new and corrective emotional experience can happen for my client. So that grief is not blocked, so that something new can be revealed for her. Perhaps for Kathy, it will be new memories about Dad. Even the time they did spend together, right? Some of the happier time, even sad time. I mean, I'm hoping as we join her in that pain, as we suffer with her in that pain, that she can rediscover that landscape, right? That she have a chance to remember her dad, a chance to reconnect with dad, so that she can once again to become or to remain her dad's child and her mom's. So guys, this is EFT and grief. Hopefully it has been a bit of a helpful, like a snapshot for you to look at how EFT therapists might work with grief. So I want to wish you guys the best in your own journey of grief, your own journey in life. I am hoping that you have your own attachment figure that can walk alongside with you, that can perhaps suffer with you as well. Thank you.